All right, everybody, welcome. It's Monday evening. We're a little bit earlier than normal because my wonderful friend Kari Johnston is on here with us tonight. So, hello, Kari. How are you?
I'm good. Dionne, how are you?
I am so good. I was just teasing her. I said, I'm good. You have to do all the hard work. But honestly, Kari is one of the artists that we featured in the very first issue of the Turquoise Iris Journal. So you may recognize Rose City Boutique. You may recognize Kari Johnston. She's also one that's in my Empowered by Design group. So you guys know November is all about me bringing on those ladies and giving them an opportunity to say hello to my audience and just kind of connect with each other. Brittany Brown says, woot, woot.
Hey, Brittany.
Hey, Brittany. Michelle's on here. Hello, girl. As you guys come on, say hello. Welcome Miss Kari with us. You also give her all of your love, hug on her, love on her, make her feel so welcome. Kari has just literally opened in the last few days a brick and mortar. And so what she's going to do, Kari and I had the opportunity of meeting last year in December in Ohio, and then once again a few weeks ago in Waco, Texas. And she has become someone that I am just all about, like, go girl go. It's basically what I've been doing. Like, I know that you're going to be so tired of me. Like, you must be so tired of me.
No, I have to tell you, I was preparing. I'm like, as soon as she gives me an opportunity, I'm going to tell everybody, like, man, my life was 180 degrees different before I connected with the Turquoise Iris here. Yeah, I'll tell you, I certainly did not have in mind to open a brick and mortar. I certainly did not have in mind a lot of the things that this year has brought me. But between Empowered by Design and meeting you and Cami and the experience that I had at the Waco retreat, I mean, it's unbelievably life-changing. So anybody who's been trying to figure out whether Empowered by Design or the Creative Connection is your jam, if you have even an inkling that this might be something that will be fun for you to do, they will throw you right off the high dive and promise you can swim. And strangely enough, you'll come up thinking, believing it.
Knowing you can swim. That's the difference. And sister, so just to back up a little bit, she is in Empowered by Design. And so 6 months ago, we connected. Although I'd already met her, we already shared pizza together at the table in Ohio. But what happened, thank you, Michelle, and thank you, Callie. Hey, Chastity, how are you? They met, Chastity's like, hey, girl, I met you in Ohio.
Hey, guys.
She was the one that won the painting, and this kind of hung out in the back there with you guys too. Tanette's on. Oops, we absolutely accidentally lost Kari. So she may have accidentally clicked a button, but we'll get her back on here in just a second. But Kari is an Empowered by Design. And for those of you that don't know what that is, it's offered to everybody in my Creative Connection group. But I only take the first 20 spots. So she is one in that group. This is my second go around with her. So we've now spent 6 months together. This is the end. It's social media. The social media means basically that each week we're going over Facebook, and one of their challenges was to go live with me on my page and me to say, come on. And so that's why you saw Tahira, you saw Becca the other day. Tanette, I'm so glad you're on here. Hey, Barbara. Hey, Janet. Hey, girl, how are you feeling? Derek's on. And Patty, you can expect a piece of furniture in the next few days. Kari, there she is. She's back.
I tried to get fancy and see the comments. I should have just trusted you were going to bring them up. I'm like, oh, I think that button does it. Nope, that button took me to a whole different website. Sorry, I'm back.
No worries at all. When you're on your phone, it is hard to see the comments scrolling. I try to put them on the screen, but that means I have to constantly be clicking them.
I'm good. I'm not touching another thing.
But I was just telling them a little bit about our background. So with that being said, the first time I talked to Kari, well, I'll let you tell the story, but I also, there's a reason that I want these ladies to come on here with me, you guys. I trust you guys as my community to nurture these peeps and really, Kari does live videos, but not very often. And she's learning to do them more. She has had a full-time corporate management position. And so she has been working her side business and her full-time business, and being a mom and a wife, and all of the other things. And so I am totally trusting my audience to love on her and be as supportive as possible. And so just give us the next 30 minutes of your time. She's going to give us a tour of her brand new brick and mortar that she's been working so hard on. But I will let Kari tell you the quick story of how this all kind of transpired in the last 6 months.
Yeah, so it was just, it was really serendipity. I think, you know, people say like luck is preparation meets opportunity. And that is like the tagline of 2020 for me, for sure. So, last year I started, being a DIY retailer, IOD, Paint Pixie, JRV stencils, all the things. And I'm, still a vendor in the Village Chic Village Cup in South Johnston, Ohio. I love you too, T. And I joined Empowered by Design this year in hopes of growing my furniture painting and DIY supply business. And so I came to Dionne, our first meeting, with all my spreadsheets in order, with a full agenda and itinerary of everything that I wanted to cover. I was like, if I get an hour of Dionne Woods' time, she's going to have my profit and loss statement. She's going to have all my expenses outlined. We're going to talk about how to grow this business. And as we were talking, we were talking about my full-time job, some of the things that I love to do. And a lot of that is in the people development space. It's in the leadership space. It's in just all kinds of, I have all kinds of big dreams, and the furniture painting and DIY supplies piece is very fun for me, still is. But it was a corner of what I was doing. And so we kind of got to the midway point of the conversation, and Dionne's looking at all of this paperwork she printed off for me and hearing me talk about all the things. And she was like, I don't know, I think you need to think bigger. And I was like, bigger? I'm already thinking of all the things. Yeah, I need to think bigger than this. And she's like, no, you need to think about what you uniquely bring to the world, and figure out how to bring that, not necessarily just sell products, be the product. And she, of course, exemplifies that. All of you who are on her page know that very well. And so that kind of got me thinking. And oddly enough, the same exact week, I was also trying to find a place to paint. And I just needed to get my furniture off of my dining room table so that my marriage stayed intact and my son had a place to eat dinner. And I ended up in this building, actually in this room that you see today, and it looked nothing like this. And it did. And if you looked at my video that I provided in the Turquoise Iris Journal, it looks nothing like that. So if you have the Turquoise Iris Journal and you haven't got a chance to look at it, that might be a fun exercise after you see it today, to go back and see the version that I was able to provide to Cami and Dionne.
Yeah, no, that's a good point to mention. She, like I mentioned earlier, in case you missed it, she is featured in the very first issue of the Turquoise Iris Journal. It is about courage. Our power word was courage. And Kari submitted, and we felt like, you know what, she literally just jumped, and she's flying. From my perspective, she may feel like she's literally flying, but she's flying. Her podcast with me will also be out this Thursday on Paint Talks' podcast. So yay. She and I, if you want to learn more about her too, make sure you're following the podcast. She shares in that, which we won't go into tonight, but in the podcast, she shares some hardships, some really heavy, brutal hardships that have come her way in the last few years, and where she has got to, how she kind of came about the creative world while she was a manager and running, you know, her other side of her business. So in that is the podcast, which is also talked, you kind of skimmed over it in the journal, but we're giving you all kinds of things to talk about and to know about. Tanette says, you made my head spin, girl.
I have that effect on people sometimes. Just, you guys just, you know, send out some prayers for my husband. He's got to live with this every day of his life. And he wanted the contract in place, and now he's stuck. So here we are.
Nope. And that's why everybody's like, hey, Matt. And I'm like, He's a good one, guys. He's
You're
a good
like,
one. He
yeah,
tolerates all the nonsense.
all of it.
So she, after our first meeting, she went away probably like, what does she mean? What does she mean? I saw something in Kari and thought, not only do you have the creative side of your mind working brilliantly, but you have the business side, like you mentioned, guys. She said the word spreadsheets and didn't break out in hives like I tend to. So she loves that. She mentioned something and I thought, wait a minute, you can actually help creatives. Like there's something missing there in the creative industry I know of for people like you who have a little bit of both of it. So that kind of got our brain thinking. And then you were talking about the building and how that came apart.
Yep. I came in here asking the owner if he would let me rent a room to paint in. And he agreed to let me rent this room to paint in on Saturdays, because, I work Monday through Friday. But the building was for sale. And so he, thank you, Patty. So he was explaining to me that, I'm welcome to rent it until the building sells, and then we're both out of here. And he provided me a few options to think about what it might look like if I were to buy the building. One of which was he would be willing to continue to run his business and rent from me. And he kind of gave me a lot of options to think about the fact that it may not be as crazy of a leap as it sounded at first. Of course, well, spoiler alert, it got totally crazy at the end. But at that point, that was like the seed that was planted. So I went home, I'm like, well, I don't know, babe. I think maybe like if you pay some rent and I start doing some painting out of this room, and I could grow doing this stuff. And Dionne tells me I should think bigger. And then a couple of my fears, came into play. It was like, well, I don't know what my business partner is going to think. I'm a vendor in a store. She's about 30 minutes away, but this is the closest city to the village that she's in. So I called her. She was like, oh my gosh, a city store, and we could have a village store, and we could be sister stores. And I bet all of our vendors would love that. And we could grow all of their businesses and think of all the things that we could do to help them. And within 2 hours, we had a plan for every room in this entire
Woo! Yes, let it roll out.
And then she started calling vendors, and you'll see how many vendors I have, about 15 vendors. And it was like one after the other was like, I'm in. So I had to call my realtor back and be like, how we were trying to figure out how to put together lease agreements and things like that? I think I need the whole building. So at that point, the only thing holding me back was the down payment, because my husband and I had not been saving cash because buying a building was not on our agenda for the year. And they gave me a number. And long story short, within a week, 2 things happened that exactly gave me the precise amount for my down payment.
The exact
I'll go into that in the podcast, but
yeah,
it was crazy. It was like, somebody asked Paul yesterday, what do you think of her doing all this? Especially since I've quit my job. Also, spoiler alert, I quit my job on Monday. So here we are. I'm just jumping off tall buildings with a single bound. And he was like, what he said was, it was so touching. He was like, every time I thought, this will trip her up, it didn't. Something happened where it solved whatever problem that was, and just kept reiterating to us that this was the direction that we were supposed to go. So I'm here for it. So
yes, you are here for it. Paul's here for it. Obviously he's all in. And a lot of what you're saying was what I was saying. I'm sure that Paul is the same way. Sister, he sees in you, when you stood up at the Waco retreat and you started talking, you had all ears and eyes right on you. And so you have a really strong leadership skill, really strong sense of business. And all of that is just starting. So she quits her job Monday. She gave her notice last week.
Today marks 1 week since I've been unemployed.
So, she's taken this huge leap of faith. And what I asked her to do now was to actually, Heather Varga goes, how did I miss this awesome news? Girl.
I just kind of slipped it into a share. I didn't make it a big announcement because I'm like, if you catch it, you catch it.
Well, we want to make it a big announcement, but what I asked Kari to do was, like she said, she has vendors there at the store. We're all about supporting small businesses. I know all of you on here are the exact same way. And so she has offered other vendors to be in her store. They pay her a fee, it helps her pay the bills, but it also brings in more traffic and unity, and she can support them while they support the overall store. So take us around the boutique. Can we do that? Can we go for a walk around? I haven't seen the whole thing yet.
Ooh, it's fun. All right, I'm gonna take you off. I'm gonna get significantly less pretty. I'm taking off the ring light, y'all. It was like when my husband got LASIK, and I'm like, oh no, you're gonna be able to see what I look like. All right, I'm actually gonna go out front and show you just from like the very front of the building. It's dark, you know, good old daylight savings time, but it's still very pretty at night. So I want to give you the full experience here.
Please do.
I'm also kind of obsessed with my sign.
As you should be, man. It's
See,
beautiful.
look, this is just me standing in front of the sign. It's bright. Okay. How do I turn around my camera? Maybe not.
You can't.
Okay.
You can't.
Oh, okay, cool.
You just have to scooch out of the way.
All right. All right. It's not, no.
Looks like we're having Wi-Fi issues.
Am I back?
I can see you.
I walked away from the Wi-Fi. That was the problem. Okay. There's my sign. You'll see it if you go to my page. It's really pretty. It lights up the whole street. Like the whole street is lit up by my sign. You see my big old grand opening banner still up. And we have it all decked out for Christmas. That was our that we just dove right into Christmas, which is so not my style. I'm an after Thanksgiving girl, but my husband is basically a Christmas elf. So he was delighted. That was one thing he really liked.
Awesome. So he was excited to deck the house out, the store, which it happens to be an old home, with holiday. So this is you coming in your store. Welcome.
Yeah. So this is the front door. You can come in the back door too, but I wanted to take you in the front door. So this is the old home part. So this house was built in 1902. You can see we refinished, sorry, traffic. We refinished the staircase. So that was all just a wooden staircase, but we left the part that looks old. I'll get up close and show you, but put a little white paint on it to brighten it up. And of course it's all Christmased out. We've got, that bench goes outside, but I didn't put it outside. We've got a Christmas tree happening here. And this is the foyer. And then, so this is the living room. This is, I've started affectionately calling this the Quita couch because it's bright purple.
Perfect.
Yes.
I love it.
There is our Christmas tree. It looks like something out of Nordstrom's. It's just absolutely beautiful. And I want to be clear in that I did not do like any of these things. Actually, many of these things happened while I was in Waco. And my vendors came in and started decorating things and putting up displays. And none of this would be happening if it wasn't for them.
Wow, that's so great. So they came in while you were out of town and they got their stuff set up, and then they kind of helped you with the whole store too.
Yeah. So I am not a display person. I've never worked in retail. I just wanted to buy a building and could see the potential, and all of them made it come to life. So we did paint. I painted more than I've ever painted in my whole life. So there's our fireplace. It was hideous before, and it's beautiful now.
It is beautiful.
All the artwork you see is from Jen Decor. She is the owner of Village Chic Village Cup. So like this beauty here. Yeah. And then my contribution is this painted desk and chair here. So there's a little sneak peek of the kinds of, you know, the furniture painting piece that's still definitely
okay. So Kari, did you set yours up where everybody has a section, or are you just for everybody's stuff is all over the store?
A little bit of both. There's some vendors that are dispersed throughout the store, and then there's some, because all of their things are so much alike, they do have their thing. I'll show you in a second, but it's a combination.
Okay.
We also, it's not like a booth fee for me. It is, it's just commission. So they don't succeed unless I succeed, and I don't succeed unless they succeed. So it's very symbiotic relationship. We are one big team. I send out text messages with everybody's sales, and we all celebrate together. And I certainly don't take credit for everything. Oops, sorry, ring light.
So your first day was November 5th.
Yes. Yeah. So this last weekend was just my second weekend. We had, of course, what a lot of people are going through, where the governor kind of made an announcement that everyone should stay home and things like that. And so I thought, well, I had one good weekend and this next weekend's going to be really slow. And it wasn't. I'm glad that the store is closed right now so I can talk to you without a mask, but we have, plenty of room, as you see, as you walk through here, for people to social distance, and everybody, we have, please wear a mask sign on the door, and people have been very respectful of that. And people are so excited about shopping local, and they're so excited to come in and see a new shop in town. And the only other store like this closed down during COVID. And so people were bummed about that, but then everyone that's walked in has been like, this is just what our town needs. So that feels really a lot bigger than me too.
Yeah. Like very welcome, right? That must feel so good.
Yeah. So here's, in a very Ohio old home way, we've got pocket doors. Look at those beauties. So we have those. Yes. We have those in front of the foyer, and then also in between the living room here and the dining room. And so our goal is to hold classes and workshops in either one of these rooms, or keep the pocket doors open and do workshops.
That's brilliant. I love that.
Yeah,
so that's
the two of them.
There. You can close that off and have a private section.
Yep. So we tried to keep just enough furniture in here that it looks pretty, but not so much that we can't move it out of here if we need to set up a workshop. So this has really turned into our art gallery. So that's Jen Decor art. And then this other Columbus, Ohio artist came in and also put several of her paintings in here. So we've got art galore. Wonderful. And painted furniture in these rooms. So those are really the focus here. Our next phase is upstairs. We have a couple of offices. We've got an inventory room so we can set up our website. So that's another big phase that we're doing. And then we are also, there's this beautiful room with bay windows that's still not done. And I'll have to show you after that's done. Okay. But that's going to be a YouTube and photography studio that we're also going to run out to small businesses. So everything about this building, I want it to feel like community, and I want it to feel like anybody who has a small business can find support here, whether that be as a vendor, whether that be for consulting type services, or whether it's like you just want to use our photography room or our videography room to set up a YouTube channel, something like that.
Brilliant, Kari. I love that you're doing that. So if you're in the area, you can actually rent the space, you guys. Rent the space. Yes, she is in Ohio, Laura.
Yep. She is Southwest Ohio. Yep. Between Dayton and Columbus.
Okay. All right. Now what are we looking at, sis?
So this is coming into our boutique area. So that you can sort of see the back door that actually goes to the parking lot is right here. But we have this neat hallway. And then, so like, for instance, this is Shannon Nicole Designs. She is a jewelry vendor, and it's in Springfield, Ohio, Deborah. And so we have all of her items together because it's all jewelry. But you'll see throughout the store, we have different windows with different vendor names, because I don't want you to just follow my store. I want you to, if you like the jewelry, or you like the home decor, or you love that, I want you to go deep on that vendor too and be able to follow and support them. So we've got, I saw Heather throw out the OHIO earlier. We got our Buckeye hats.
Yes.
And our Buckeye necklaces. Poor Dionne, she didn't know what she was in for. We had chocolate Buckeyes we were all OHIO and
singing and doing your Ohio, and I'm like, a Buckeye? What's a Buckeye? Like, yes. We had our candy and everything. That Ohio class was so much fun. You guys were so much fun.
And this vendor actually does. So we're like, this is my hillbilly coming out. I could spit on the university from my front porch. So we have my alma mater, Wittenberg University, is close by. So we've got Wittenberg branded jewelry. the local high schools. She's made jewelry branded with their spirit gear. So we've got clothes. You see, this is Chestnut and Vine. This is all of the clothing. And we have, this is a watercolor artist.
Oh,
I'm still getting used to this
I know it's
backward
opposite, which is tricky for us. I know. So there's a watercolor artist. Oh,
Yeah.
like cards and stuff.
Yeah. So he does all these as paintings, but then he makes prints and cards of them, and he puts little funny sayings in the cards. And he does that. His daughter is our cookie baker, so she does. Nice. They're not out right now. They're at home in my freezer. But we do have cookies. We have goat's milk soaps and bath bottles. So they do essential oils and shea butter and all kinds of stuff in their goat's milk. She's my cousin, so that's been nice. I called her right away, like, you want to put your goat's milk soap in a store?
Wonderful.
So here's La Petite Pomme Designs. She's our stained glass artist. She's a local elementary school teacher who does stained glass on the side. So this is just, gorgeous.
Yeah.
I may or may not have already dropped and broke one of them, so I'm not touching a thing today. And then my best friend, she does these crocheted items. So this is Tobias Loops. She married her twins' names into a business name. There's little Santa Claus, and he's up there with. So this is one where we'll find little bits of these guys all over the place, because this is the North Pole. So we wanted Santa to be at the North Pole.
Yeah. Yes.
Got some kids' clothes over there, so we put some by the kids' clothes, and they're kind of all over the place.
I like that. I think that's a good idea, just to spread it out everywhere.
Yes.
Especially since for the holiday. Now, this is your cash wrap?
Yeah, this is my cash register, and I just wanted to pause here because, Lizzie, I can't wait till you see it either, because Iron Orchid Designs helped me name my store, even though they didn't know that. So I got to tell them this story in Waco. I was like, where did you find this floral transfer? And they said that they found it in a vintage catalog. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try to get way down here. So down here, probably none of you have ever noticed this before, but it says Springfield, Ohio, the largest grower of roses in the world.
I did not know that it said that.
Yes. And there's another one that says the Champion City, which is one of our monikers. But this one said the largest grower of roses in the world. So, of course, that got me asking around. And apparently that is part of our town's history. We used to have all these greenhouses everywhere. And at one point in time, we were called the Rose City. Then Champion City, I think it was some kind of manufacturing plant moved in, and everyone started calling it the Champion City. But the Rose City is kind of a vintage name of our town, which I would have only known because of Iron Orchid Designs and their first gen transfer. So I was finally able to tell them that story, and that was really
cool. I know they loved that when you told them that. I know it. They had to.
I'm sure you were just like, oh, pretty roses, but I'm like, that's my town. So of course I bought a stupid amount of those transfers. People are always weirded out because I don't let anybody leave the store without going to the bathroom because it is a point of interest. So this is our bathroom. Look at our ceiling.
Wow. Why so fancy in the potty?
So the person who used to own this had a piece of fabric hung from the ceiling that perfectly matched this wallpaper, which looks totally fine now. But when there was fabric up there that matched it, it was like a tunnel of hideousness. And it kind of draped down. It reminded me of a coffin. My mom wants me to stop telling people that, but that's that's the visual of draped down on the ceiling. And it was anchored up there with tension rods. And I just kept telling the girl that was helping me design things, we have got to do something about that ceiling. And this is a shower. So behind here is a full shower. And it just had a shower curtain. The previous business, people just saw the shower in there and saw the ugly curtain in the top. And certain generations didn't think it was that hideous, but my generation agreed. Everyone who's come in of my generation has been like, that's disgusting. Are you doing something about that? I'm like, yes, I am. And this lady who does window displays, she was like, I've got some giant flowers. We could try to hang those from the ceiling. And I'm like, can we? What will that look like? So I went to Texas. I came back, and that was what the ceiling in the bathroom looked like. It was awesome. I opened the door. I'm like, yes. And so now I harass all of my customers into going to the bathroom before they leave. Hey, Quita, I was just showing them your couch, your purple couch.
Just saw the purple couch. Cute. Oh my God. Terry Lou thinks that's funny too. She's laughing too.
I'm telling you, it's been an adventure. So we've got all kinds of items. These are some more. This is Chestnut and Vine jewelry. We've got four jewelry vendors. The Chestnut and Vine has, like, these are for key rings. Like, it's a bracelet that you can put your keys on.
So easy. Just put it on your wrist and you forget all about it. And then you've still got it handy.
Yeah, a little some selfie prep if we need, a selfie prep kit. And she does Chestnut and Vine does all of the clothing. And this shirt, people have been waiting for it. So
what is it? Let me see.
It says Santa's favorite.
Oh, that is cute.
We posted it when we ordered it and people were like, that's so cute. So here's some more jewelry. And then down the muddy lane here. Woo, there.
That way.
She does all of the home decor stuff and also a little bit of everything. So she's got a little bit of jewelry. She's got a little bit of hand painted furniture. She's got a little bit of home decor, and she does the kids' clothes. So she's just one of those jack of all trades kind of craftsmen. She typically sets up booths. So she does a little bit of everything typically to fill out her own booth. But she's been, not able to do booths this year. So she got to bring it all to me, which I was pumped about. Some more art, cute little snowman pillows. We named all of our mannequins. So this is little Rosie.
Oh, good. Yeah, give him a name. Make him part of the family.
Yeah, with her cute little holy jeans that my mom does not approve of us starting kids that young on holy jeans. And then Village Chic. So I'm a vendor in her store, and she's now a vendor in my store. So that's her sign. And then she has candles, several different kinds of candles, wax melts, dough balls. These smell amazing. People keep going and grabbing them with two hands and just like taking them to the face.
Yeah.
And this was really cool. So this is coming in the back door. So this is the parking lot out here. And when you come in the back door, you're immediately hit with this beautiful display. And initially we were thinking about putting a Christmas tree here, but then we set up these round tables to kind of have the look of a Christmas tree. And you can't see because they all sold in the first 2 weekends, but it was covered in light up trees. So it was a whole display of light up trees. But oh my gosh, Thursday morning of my grand opening, this sea of people came in and all these ladies start grabbing trees. And I was like, it's going to be noon on my first day. And it's going to look like I don't have anything in my store because people were just grabbing stuff left and right. They were just totally in love with this display.
Wonderful. I love it.
And then these are like upcycled chair legs that she put Christmas trees on.
Brilliant.
And lots of Christmas ornaments, of course, and gnomes. Gnomes keep coming in different outfits and different colors. I'm getting gnomes of all shapes and sizes, and people are just going wild for them. So, of course, my DIY candles. And then, yep, there we go, DIY candles.
There we go. There's the DIY candles. Yep. And
then this is another display that people are obsessed with. Sorry if I'm making anyone seasick. But this is an old crib, and it's just stuffed full of handmade pillows down the muddy lane.
It's perfect.
Together pillows. And people it used to be overflowing. They're kind of getting lower in the crib, but she does everything from these faux leather to stamped.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, no one's going to feel sorry for you that your displays are getting messed up.
Yeah, I mean, they're really darn pretty. And then, of course, here's some more of these little guys.
Yep.
This one's my favorite. Look at this peacock.
That guy. Look at the tail. A little crochet tail. I've never seen anything like that, ever.
They're so cute. A little girl was carrying that around the other day, and I was like, and she ended up having to make some choices. She got a necklace instead, but I was like, thank you. You appreciate how adorable that is. And then, of course, here's my paint. And it's been nice because I'm sure you guys have noticed every piece of furniture in here is painted with DIY paint. So typically people don't notice that right away. They're just entranced by the items on the displays. But then once they see the paint display, you know, the light bulb kind of comes on, and I'm able to connect everybody to different paint colors and such. We've got all of our paint pixie brushes and our water girls. What?
Hey, what fun!
And our mermaid paints and things like that. And our Christmas ornaments. And then we got a special rose ornament made
Oh,
for our grand opening. And we were giving those away with $50 purchases, and we have like 5 left. We bought 50. So that was people were pumped about that giveaway. That was awesome. Yeah,
that's
so that's
so good. You know what, honey? I know what you're going through. I understand. I haven't done a brick and mortar, but I've worked for enough of them that closely, and worked with enough women that I know this is like a baby.
Yes.
Like,
oh, I didn't show you the dressing room. Sorry.
Well, don't forget that.
Yeah, because what had happened was I found these doors in my garage, and the geniuses involved in my display were like, we can turn that into a dressing room. So where these hats are, these are doors that were in my garage. And we've got these beautiful beams.
Yes.
And so we put a rod up, and this is the dressing room. And we just hung a chandelier in there.
Perfect.
I'll show you these beams. And there's also, you can't tell because it's nighttime, but we have 3 skylights in here. So if this was the daytime, I could turn off all these lights and it would be about as bright as you're seeing now. The natural light in here is just gorgeous. And then there's
that's so wonderful. Let me just tell you how hard it is to get all that natural light in an older home, especially. That's wonderful.
Yeah. So this was an addition that was put on like in the 80s. I think the house ended here, and then this addition got put on, and this beautiful stained glass window was installed. And yeah, when I first walked in, I walked in this back door, and of course it was just like, well, this is a store. I mean, it was lined with guitars. This was a guitar service and music lessons place. So all of these slat wall pieces were just guitars. And then I did show them the bathroom, Melissa. Don't you worry. We're obsessed with our bathroom. It's so crazy. But yeah, the lighting is just gorgeous. We didn't put in these lights. We replaced them. We updated the lights, but all of these pot lights were in here. They were an older version, but my uncle came in and put in LEDs. And then you can see the skylight there. And we've got 3 of those. And then just tons of people came in and grabbed paintbrushes. And the guitar person, he had this building for 25 years. And he and his wife stopped in to see what I had done with it. And I was like, does this make you wish that you had painted it pink? Do you feel like you picked the wrong color? And he's like, well, the guitars would look beautiful on those pink walls.
He's thinking, man, I should have gone pink earlier.
I'm telling you, look how beautiful this place looks pink.
I love it, Kari. I know exactly all the hard work. And this has been your baby. And even though it's happened in the last few months, you've put so much time and energy. You probably go to bed thinking all of the things you didn't get done, but hallelujah to the things you did.
Yeah.
You guys, one of the questions, Kari, I'm going to go ahead and ask it was, do you have any just off the top generic advice or good solid advice for somebody that would like to open a brick and mortar during this time right now?
Well, I will tell you that I personally think it's the best time to do it, which sounds crazy. But for me, the way my brain works is if I can succeed when all odds seem against me, then if anything changes, I could only get better. So I know a lot of people were taken by surprise by this year. I mean, of course, we all were. But, a lot of folks were unprepared for this, things to be shut down. And what if I have to go online? And I'm coming into this with like a plan A, B, C, D, E, F, and X, like just in case, because this year has taught us that we have to have contingency plans. And so I kind of felt like, if I can do it this year, I can do it any year. And I kind of could see the first, I didn't open until November. So I kind of watched the summer and got to see what brick and mortar stores had to do to survive and the kind of service they had to provide and curbside pickup and, make sure we have a phone number and an email address and a website and all of those things. So all of those things are in the works at the ground floor, which will help us be, I think, less reactive going forward.
Absolutely. That is good advice. Do you have those plans set up for workshop? Are you already doing them now? If so, how can someone get in one of those?
We are currently doing workshops at my sister's store at Village Chic Village Cup.
Okay.
We had kind of had a rockin' workshop calendar set up from the beginning of the year there. And a lot of the same vendors are here. So we're going to be working this store into that calendar. But right now we're kind of all hands on deck for Christmas. And so thank you, Quita. So we are really focused on kind of closing out the year just in the retail space. And 2021 is definitely going to bring a lot of workshops. We do jewelry making, wreath making, anything that you see that has been made, we will likely have a class to show you how to make it too, where it's a very generous community of makers that are part of the store. So I have already had conversations about a certain stained glass workshop that'll be first. We just have to figure out where it goes on the calendar.
Yeah. So if someone sees something on your social media, guys, she's on Facebook and Instagram. If somebody sees something on your Facebook or Instagram, can they call? Have you got set up to do any kind of shipping at all?
We can definitely ship. So definitely send us a message or send us an email. We have not gotten our website set up yet. Thanks, Jennifer.
Thanks, Jennifer.
So she's biased. She's had a hand in all of this, but we are very excited about starting shipping. And the only thing holding us back is me getting the website up and running. And I've already bookmarked my tutorial and I'm ready to roll. But in the meantime, we have someone on hand, my mom, who had an eBay store for a long time and is very well versed in shipping. And we'll be happy to ship anything that you guys see that you would be interested in.
Okay. Yumiko, thank you so much for your generous contribution there. That was so sweet of you. What are the bathroom flowers made of, and are they handmade?
Jennifer, you can help me out here. I don't think they're handmade. I believe that they're like foam. Like they're not quite paper. They're a very thick material, but they're not fabric. It's like a foam material. Mm-hmm. And I believe she ordered them already made, and then what she did was put together the arrangement, and she had to, they have wire in them, so she had to adjust them and all of that, but she did not put them together by hand.
So the goal of that was to cover up is the ceiling just really bad?
Well, it's not a bad ceiling, but there's plumbing access up there. So as soon as we got the curtain down, we were like, okay, this is why they didn't just put a ceiling. This is why they put something temporary up there.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, we know now that we need to have some way to get to the plumbing there. There's like a cutout in the drywall where there's a door and whatnot. And so we needed to put something kind of temporary. There we go. They're not handmade, but Cindy has made them before. She's a genius. She does window displays at the other store, and she's just awesome. But yeah, so that was when you surround yourself with creatives, boy, you're not going to get a run-of-the-mill solution to any problem. It's going to be like, let's put a bouquet of flowers on the ceiling. So many people have walked in and said like, oh my gosh, I should do that to my daughter's, nursery or whatever. I should do that to my daughter's room. Foam material. Okay, good.
They're a foam material, so they probably are bendable, and yep. They're just a little bit flexible there too. So Matt is on here as Elijah, you guys. He is the one talking, not Elijah. Elijah would not watch the lives, but that is Matt. That's a good balance that you have, Kari, because you are understanding from the get-go that there are some things you're really good at and some things that maybe there are other people who would be better at it. So instead of trying to have control over everything and everyone, you are finding the balance of like, okay, we work side by side with each other and it makes perfect sense the way our brains work. I love that. You are delegating, but you are also finding balance within the people that are working amongst the store as well. Which, sister, this is going to go good. This is good. We talked at the very beginning, you guys, about Kari and her personality, and just her leadership role. She also has a leadership membership group um, on Facebook. It's through Facebook. Yes, it's a private group. And what do you guys focus on in your leadership group?
So we do goal setting. It's called Accelerate Your Greatness, and we do. Melissa Pence is on is down the muddy lane. So if you want to put that together, but Accelerate Your Greatness, it's a membership group on Facebook, and what we do is goal setting. So every quarter, so it'll be open again the first of the year. Every quarter, we just decide what goals we're going to focus on for that quarter. And typically, if you do that on a quarterly basis instead of an annual basis, you get a lot more accomplished. So I think it's been fun to have a lot of those kind of success stories. Like, well, I had a goal this quarter to grow my business. Turns out I actually quit my day job and now I'm doing this business full time. Amazing how really dedicated time and being very intentional with scheduling and all of those things that folks tend to struggle with. I mean, people have a lot of big dreams, but it's hard from a mindset perspective to truly understand that you can achieve them and to figure out how to put the building blocks in place. So that membership group helps you truly put the building blocks in place. And then I do training each month on different topics that seem to be holding people up. So this month, for instance, we're going over vulnerability and how hard that is. You know, you want to have those walls up, but only by connecting with people do you understand what you can do well and what you can't do well, and surround yourself with people who push you forward. So it's a lot of fun, very supportive, wonderful community I've got there.
Yes, absolutely. But you've built that. You know what? You've built it. You guys, if you're just popping on and you missed the beginning, this is Kari Johnston. It's Rose City Boutique. She has just recently, in the last few days, quit her day job and jumped in and started a brick and mortar. Now she's been building this up over the last few months, but what you're seeing and what she showed us has just transpired in the last few months. So you can imagine the work that's gone into it. If you see something you love, give them a call. Make sure you're liking and following them. Go see them, call them, whatever you can do to support the small businesses that are working their tails off there within her shop. Yumiko, I have 2 houses and I would love to turn one into an art store. Yumiko, that sounds wonderful.
Well, see, you already had the buildings. I actually have folks in my life who are trying to get me to move out of my house and move into the store. If I could show you upstairs in the attic, it's super creepy at this time of day, but it's we have a huge attic up there, and everybody that sees it goes like, why don't you turn this into an apartment? So you're a step ahead of me, Yumiko.
Well, yeah, she's looking at it from a different perspective. Yep. And I actually, when you were walking and you said something about the upstairs, I thought, will you move into the store ever?
Well, see, because of the way my brain works is every corner of the store I see as a revenue stream. So it's hard for me to think about living there because I think about all the real estate I would be taking up. Yeah. And all of the services that I could offer small businesses out of here. But the attic is one that I haven't thought of a purpose for, partly because it's not heating and cooled or anything like that. It's not climate controlled. That's the word I was looking for. So if we went to the effort of doing that, we might, end up turning it into an apartment or something. But, I always kind of had a fun little inkling that, you see downtown and you see the little shops and then you see the apartments upstairs. And I'm like, oh, how fun would that be to just go downstairs and do your shop? But that'd be a whole project in itself. That'll be a whole quarterly goal for me someday. Right now, my son's 13. So the idea of being in a really limited space with teenagers and all their food and all their stinkiness and all their stuff, I'm thinking like I need a lot of space to
you're like, we need to go bigger and get
it out. Yes. So maybe when he's here in just a few years, when he's off on his own, that'll be a different chapter of my life. But for now, I'm trying to keep a different space because I drag him in here enough too. I think if we lived here, he'd be like, really, Mom? We live here too? Are you kidding me?
Totally, he would, but that's okay. I love that y'all love your plan. You've got it laid out. You've got a lot of the right players right there with you. So we are all wishing you great success, sister. It's been treat for me to get to know you better and spend all of this last 6 months visiting with you. And I won't be sad because I'm right here. You can still reach out to me, right? I'm like,
Yeah,
I didn't mean to turn that sad. Sorry.
She had to follow up with me to schedule my last call. And I'm like, what if I don't want to have our last call? And then I just have to hold on to this hour that you still have for me to use someday. Like, no, I have to schedule the call. Okay, fine. I'll schedule the call.
I was like, you haven't scheduled your call. Could you do that, please? And she was like, what if I don't want to schedule my last one?
What if I'm not ready for it to be over? But it's really, truly been transformative. I can't say enough how transformative it's been. And Dionne's very humble in that she like, I can understand you're like, these are forces bigger than me, but there was a reason that she came into my life and you're looking at it. So it's been amazing.
You're amazing.
No, you are.
No, you are. All right, you guys, make sure you check out the Paint Talks podcast on Thursday. Kari is our featured guest. We love you and appreciate you popping on here tonight. Thank you for throwing out your positive comments for her. She's just beginning this journey, so she could use your support. Give her a like and a thumbs up on her business at Rose City Boutique. Kari, have a great evening. Go home and have some dinner, okay?
Thanks, girlfriend. Thank you for everyone who watched.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.